Come, come, let's hear the moral story. Come, come, let's hear the moral story.
Hey everyone, you know that feeling when you come up with a totally new idea, something you're really excited about, only to get, well, crickets? Or worse, people kind of laugh? We've all been there. Today, we're going to dive into a fairy tale that really gets to the heart of that whole struggle. It's this classic clash between originality and, well, just doing what everyone else does. Let's jump in.
And this really is the big question, isn't it? Not just for the story, but for all of us. Is it better to just play it safe and copy what works? Or is it braver to step out and create something totally new? Let's find out how our princess tackles this one. All right, so let's set the scene. Our story starts in this beautiful kingdom called Kalapuri. In this place, it's all about the arts. I mean, they're famous for it. They really pride themselves on having, the most refined taste and a deep love for all things beautiful. So once upon a time, in this super artistic kingdom, you've got the king, Virendravarma, and the queen, Mrinalini Devi. Good rulers, the whole deal. And they have a daughter, Princess Saraswathi. And look, she was pretty much everything you'd expect a princess to be, except for this one tiny little thing. She was different. So you know how most princesses in these stories are all about jewels and admiring famous, classic designs? Yeah, not Saraswathi. She couldn't care less about that stuff. She was all about threads and fabrics, the raw materials. Her real passion was getting her hands dirty, so to speak, and actually making things, weaving these really unique and, yeah, some people thought pretty odd designs. And the things she made, wow, they were like nothing anyone in the kingdom had ever seen before. Seriously, her designs just flowed, almost like rivers. The colors she used totally broke all the rules. For her, each piece wasn't just a piece of clothing. It was something more. It was like a personal prayer, an offering to the goddess of art, Saraswati. So you've got this kingdom that's supposed to love art, right? So how do you think they reacted to something so out there, so original? Well, as you can probably guess, being different, it usually costs you something. And it wasn't like they were openly mean to her face. No, it was something way worse, you know? It was that quiet stuff, the soft laughter as she walked by, the whispers behind her back. These people, these so-called art aficionados of Kalapuri, they just didn't get what she was doing. And because they didn't get it, they made fun of it. And this right here, this is the real problem. The whole kingdom had this idea that great art meant copying the masters, perfecting what already existed. It was all about tradition. So when they looked at the princess, they didn't see a creative genius. They saw someone who was breaking the rules. Her creativity wasn't a gift. It was basically an act of rebellion.
Okay, but here's the twist, and it's a big one. The people of Kalapuri had no idea who they were dealing with. See, this wasn't just any princess. She was actually the goddess of art herself, Saraswati, in human form. This whole time, she was running a test on them to see if they really respected creativity or if they were just, talking the talk. Okay, so this all leads up to the story's big turning point. There's this massive art exhibition being held for a visiting prince, Prince Adrith, from a neighboring kingdom. This is Kalapuri's chance to strut its stuff, show off its best artists. And of course, it's the perfect moment for our princess to unveil her newest creation. So imagine this huge hall, right? It's filled with art that's beautiful, sure, but it's all kind of the same. It's predictable. And then, in the middle of all that, is the princess's piece. It's this wild, vibrant robe, completely asymmetrical. It basically breaks every single rule in the book. So the big question is this it? Is this the moment they finally get it? And the answer from the courtiers? A hard no. Not even close. They look at it and just see a mess. It looks unfinished, they whisper. Way too strange for a royal. Their minds were just completely closed. Their judgment was instant and it was brutal, all because it didn't fit into their tiny little box of what good art was supposed to look like. But then, just when you think it's all over, one person speaks up, and it's the visiting prince, Audrit, the guest of honor. He looks at the robe, and he sees something totally different. He sees what no one else could. He doesn't see flaws. He sees life. He says it feels like it's alive, like it's literally woven from imagination itself. And when the prince says this, the princess's response is just perfect. She doesn't just say thank you. She asks a simple question that completely dismantles the entire kingdom's way of thinking. It's a question that, honestly, we should all probably ask ourselves more often.
And with that, the test was officially over. That night, everything changed. It was time for the people of Kalapuri to get their report card. And they had failed. Badly.
Picture this. Everyone's gathered in the palace courtyard. And suddenly, this incredible, divine light just surrounds the princess, the very same princess they'd all been laughing at. And right before their eyes, she transforms into the radiant, powerful goddess Saraswati. You can just imagine the scene. In a split second, they get it. They understand the massive mistake they've made, and they all just drop to their knees, terrified. And she doesn't even have to yell. Her voice is calm, but her words hit like a hammer. She just holds up a mirror to them. You say you love art, she tells them, but you mocked originality. You say you honor tradition, but you laughed at the very idea of invention. Oof, talk about calling them out on their hypocrisy. And then she lays out this incredible piece of wisdom. She explains that copying isn't a bad thing. Not at all. It's actually really important for preserving art and culture. But, and this is the key, originality is what creates that culture to begin with. And she makes it clear that being the person who invents, who dares to be different, that takes real courage. And then she leaves them with this one last thought. And it's a chilling one. She says that creativity doesn't die in some big, dramatic battle. It's killed by quiet mockery, by ridicule. It doesn't fight back. It just goes away. It leaves. And just like that, she vanished, returning to the heavens. So, the goddess was gone, but her lesson? That wasn't going anywhere. It was basically burned into the collective soul of the kingdom. That one night, it changed everything for them, forever. And out of all that shame and regret, a completely new Kalapuri emerged. They didn't just stop mocking new ideas. They started actively encouraging them. They started teaching their kids that being an individual, having your own unique perspective, wasn't weird. It was a blessing. It was a gift. This became their new motto, their core belief. They finally understood what their princess had been trying to show them from the very beginning. Real art, real progress. It can only happen in a place where being unique isn't just put up with, it's celebrated. And that brings us right back to the beginning and right back to us. Because this story isn't really about a princess in some far-off kingdom, is it? It's about all of us. So the next time you see a new idea, something that seems a little strange, a little out there, what are you going to be? Are you going to be the courtier who scoffs because it's different? Or are you going to be the prince, the one who looks a little closer and sees the spark of something amazing? The choice, as they say, is yours.